All right. Welcome, Mary Glenn. Welcome, Valbona.
Hello.
Sarah. Hello, Julia. Devani, what's your last name and where can I connect with you? Can you see me?
Hi, my name is Stephanie White.
Okay, Devani, welcome. Where are you on social media, Devani?
I'm not.
Oh, you're not. Oh, okay. How did you find out about these workshops?
I'm trying to remember. Are you with Mind Valley?
Am I with Mind Valley? I know of Mind Valley, but no.
It may have been LinkedIn then.
Oh, LinkedIn. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I always love to know how our paths crossed. So thanks so much for sharing that. And I really hope this workshop be helpful for you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So yesterday we talked about branding, right? Think legacy, right? We shared some, mindset, I should say, because my mind is like focused on branding today. So that's kind of all I could think about. Hello, Valbona. Say hello, guys, in the chat as well. So I'm going to have the chat open at all times. If you get any aha moments, because I'm a big, I'm like an artist at heart. So every time I hear that something that I shared had a insight or gave you an insight, I love to hear about it. So let's use the chat to kind of communicate throughout this hour. So of course, I'm gonna really attempt to give you amazing, high level, visionary information on branding. And then of course, you'll do your part in kind of connecting the dots in your business on that. Hello, Valbona, so nice to see you here. I'm so glad you found some time. I know you're a busy realtor. Making it happen. So I'm so glad you found some time to come back. Oh, perfect. Thanks so much. Okay, guys. So we talked about mindset yesterday, right? So the high level legacy mindset you need as a visionary leader or the entrepreneur in your business to make the impact and the income that you desire, right? So it was a really great session, a lot of insights. So I hope you did your homework. You had some time to reflect on the question
Co-host recording today.
that we talked about. All right, guys, so if you can mute your mics, please, that would be very helpful so we don't have any background noise.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, thanks so much. So I will start this, for those of you that have grabbed the book, Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurship on Amazon, we're doing chapter 4. It's not a book club. Even though it does feel like that. But of course, I'm going to touch upon some of the main fundamentals that I think are really valuable in chapter 4, where I talk about building an iconic brand to make the massive impact that you desire. And I'm going to start off with a quote from the beginning of the chapter before I dive into the content today. So you can build a life and business on purpose that makes both income and massive impact to leave a legacy. And also what happens when you build a brand, you don't chase anymore, you attract. It's really cool stuff when you really build a massive brand out there in the market. And when I say massive is, we build it one step at a time, right? With consistency, with action. So I'll speak, to that as well, because nothing is by chance. We talked about that yesterday. We can't just build a business and just wait for people to come find us. We have to build a business, then go find the right people, nurture them, and eventually serve them at a higher level through our mission, vision, service that we are able to provide. So that's a really cool part about that. So why do we need to build a brand? Why should we not just rely on I guess solopreneurship, kind of share what we do, try to reach our clients through the different methods of marketing. All right. So why do we need to build the brand? Well, I would say because if you don't build a brand, if you don't make noise in the marketplace, then you are just a really small bird, I say, in the big forest of entrepreneurship, and all the businesses in your industry that offer the same service that you also offer. Right. So you would be a small dot in the big marketplace. So of course, you're not going to get the visibility that you are looking for to stand out. Right. So that is one major benefit of building a brand. The other part is positioning yourself. I've realized, because I've also worked in HR and also in business, right? And I realized positioning in life and business is crucial. I mean, everything is positioning. How do we position ourselves with the audience that is in front of us? Whether that's our child, whether that is our team member, whether that is our boss, whether that is our client or our potential client, whether that is our husband or wife, right? Everything is positioning, right? Because you really, in positioning yourself, you really have to understand the win-win situations that we need to create in life and business, right? What does the other person want? And how is it that I can provide that based on my experience? Right? So everything is that. And in the marketplace, no one cares about anything besides the outcome that you're able to provide, right? The results that you're able to provide. So when you position yourself as authority in the marketplace, of course, you get seen differently. Your brand gets seen differently, right? There's a different perception about you and your area of expertise. And of course, that also translates into positioning yourself, I always say, as the Walmart or as Kate Spade. It's really up to you, right? You can position your business however you would like. You can position it as a business that leads on price, or you can position it as a business that leads on value, right? And the more you build a reputation based on your visibility, your thought leadership out there in the marketplace, and also the results that your clients have generated over time, then it's like a multiplying effect, right? It's like everything multiplies, right? And then people start to get to know about you, right? I always say that the main definition of branding is when people talk about you when you're not in the room. When they know, like, if this is something that you need, Elona is your person. That's the definition of branding for me. But what that means is that you have positioned yourself strongly in a lane in the marketplace. I know I talked about the umbrella yesterday, your brand umbrella. And the good news is that, yes, you can position your brand on 4 legs or 6 legs, which are your main, steady legs, right? Because without one of the legs, your chair will fall and, will break and you will fall. So you do need to have your pillars in your branding in the marketplace, or I always say the topics that you teach on, and then you gotta position yourself as that expert within those pillars. And that is how you stay consistent with your messaging, you stay consistent with your area of expertise, and people start to get to know you, they start to recognize you. So this is why branding is important. Like if I need any real estate needs, like Valbona, for example, for my Albanian community, I'll just give you guys an example. She's great at branding, right? She's always visible. She shares, her expertise with the audience, and people know that if you need to buy property in Boston, that's where she's based, Valbona is your girl, because she does a good job of having an omnipresence. I always say today, if you're not online, you're nowhere. Everyone's doing business online, right? I mean, if you're going to have a business, and Corey's going to laugh because she will share her experience with you guys maybe tomorrow or Thursday, but I always say if you're not online, it's like your job description. Building relationships and creating content and being visible online, it's like your job description as an entrepreneur, even though we don't love it every time, right? Yeah, Valbona's giving me a thumbs up, right? Because it's just like you go to a job, you have to do certain tasks. Some of them you love, some of them you don't. You signed up for this. Don't blame me. But of course, the rewards are amazing. But, visibility is big. Everything in life is visibility. That's why I always also say that PR and business and media and business is like together, because media is all about visibility, right? How does that fit into this? Well, it's part of a strategy for your branding, right? So, and I do a lot of that because I understand how important it is to find the right audiences and to share your message with the masses. Whether you are speaking for a living, I think you grow into it. We all started as, small little clients, and then you grow. Just like I said, you get more confidence, you get more expertise, you create more results out there in the market, and you just start to do this, trifecta effect. And then every year I set some crazier goals in reaching maybe, markets that I thought like, oh my gosh, am I going to serve this type of client? Because it might be a high level client, let's say, right? So all I'm saying is that don't get overwhelmed. Just look at where you are, but push yourself a little bit, further moving forward. One thing that I would tell you guys now with the economy and the way that our industry, if you are into service providing or coaching and consulting, we're going into a mature industry right now, right? So we're no longer at the beginning where everyone's kind of booming into it, the life coaching, all the different type of consulting, the coaching being offered. Now the market is more saturated. So if you don't build a brand, if you don't build trust, you're not going to be able to survive in this arena, because people now are not just hiring anyone and everyone. They're doing their homework, they're looking you up. If you're nowhere in the Googles or showing up on any social media, you haven't been to any, you haven't been anywhere for an interview, you haven't shared your expertise, you don't have a training out there, you don't have something out there, then of course it's like you're going to get bypassed, because there's so many other people that understand the importance of branding yourself, and they are online showcasing their expertise and serving people. So, that's where we are in the world right now. So I think branding now has become even more important. And I always knew this, right? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to human capital, it's always about trust. And how do we build trust with people? We got to see someone at least 10 times to start to gain some attraction and start to feel an emotional connection in a good way to that person, right? So let our content do our job. As I always say, I think in a way we're very spoiled because we didn't have this before. Like when we would do, services back in the day, like old traditional ways of business, and I've gone and I've hit the streets myself too. It's like, who knows who? So you had to like connect the dots between like phone numbers, because you didn't have much information to go off on. But today everything's online. So why aren't you giving yourself this, availability and visibility when it's like right there? Use social media on purpose. When you have a business, you have a project, you have something to promote or to share with people. I don't love the word promote, but share it with people. You have something that you care about, you want to share it with people. I mean, everyone, like the fastest access is social media, right? And I always say I can find the world on social media. Don't you feel that? Between all these platforms, I connect with anyone. There's no barriers anymore. So anyway, that's my spiel on social media and brand visibility, but omnipresence is crucial. So you need to be out there. You need to position yourself. And I would say for those of you that sometimes have the barrier of like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to offer. There's other people doing what I'm doing. I had all of that at the beginning. I'm like, there's so many coaches, they're doing what I'm doing, how do I differentiate myself? Eventually, once you position yourself in the market, you authentically start to differentiate because you have a unique, authentic voice. Even though if you haven't put yourself out there, you don't really know what's inside of you yet. So the more you do that, the more you start also evolving your brand message and making yourself authentic. So there you go. You're also branding yourself, under your authenticity as well. That's why personal branding is important. I always say people don't care about our solution sometimes. They just trust you. Because I get so many people because I do a good job with branding, and I love, everything for me is like a channel to share my message. The bigger the channel, the bigger the windows, the bigger the people I can impact. I don't have a problem with that at all. But when people come to you, that's because they trust me. They trust Elona. The offer that I have or something that I think will be a good fit for them becomes secondary. So if you've done a good job, it's going to do the selling that we all hate as entrepreneurs for us. So when we get on the thing, it's like, I already know you. I see you everywhere. I hear this all the time. I'm like, okay, good. I'm doing my marketing really well, right? I am serving really well. So when people say that, that's how you know you're doing the right thing, because it surely feel like I already know you. I've also had some real life meetups everywhere with my online communities. And honestly, the energy is crazy. Like it feels like I never met these people before, but when you meet them live, you're like, I feel like I already know you. And then you just kind of like, everything becomes so much easier. Collaboration becomes easier. It's just about sharing. Here's what I do. Do you know anyone? Like, it's like, oh, I need that. Or I know someone. I mean, this is how you do business in an authentic, heart-driven way. So why not use the power of the internet to really, I say everything is a free billboard, either for traffic and visibility, or you use it and it's free. I'm like, I'm gonna use my platforms, my free, authentic, organic ways to showcase what I know, right? So why not do that? I mean, it's just like a no-brainer, but I think sometimes when you lack the clarity and the strategy behind like what kind of content, what do I stand for, who do I help, what are my brand pillars, what are the main things I want to position, what are the four legs of the chair that I want to always hold on to and have people know me for. I think that's the problem a lot of times. So in that big umbrella, that's what I would say would be the most important part. So clarifying what are those four legs in your brand umbrella of the chair that you want to stand for, right? What are those main topics that you love to teach? Like for me, right, is entrepreneurship, business growth, purpose-driven entrepreneurship, legacy, right? So those are the main pillars that I talk about. So no matter what I am saying, it always surrounds, those main pillars. So that's what I would say for you to do. Come up with your brand messaging, right? Come up with those four legs in the chair that you constantly have for your foundation of your business. And then the rest of the topics, you can relate any topics to anything. I mean, we all can bring a different perspective to the topics, but you want to stay within your umbrella, right? Because you want people to know you. Like when I see Valbona, I know that's what she does. When I see Corey, I know she helps you with the health goals. It's just easy. Like when I see Sarah, she helps you with marketing, digital marketing, right? So you have to stay within that brand positioning if you want to start building authority. Otherwise, if you're changing lanes every month, you are confusing yourself, you're confusing your market, and plus you're starting over, I think. So all those efforts that you put in, you're starting over in a way. So my advice, because a lot of people might need to position and pivot, and that's okay in the marketplace as well. I say do it slowly. It's like driving a car. Don't be like, take a turn and just kind of like go on the right side. Just slowly tweak your messaging if you feel like you're elevating your positioning, or you are, serving a different niche, or your messaging is changing. Do it slowly, right? Slowly, because you don't want to confuse your audience. You want to do it slowly. I think that's a great thing. And then of course, there's so many strategies to authority building, right? I mean, PR is a big one, right? Authority building, writing a book, conducting a show, going to other people's communities, right? So there's a lot of strategies that you can do to increase the channels of visibility. And the best thing to do is access other people's communities. I mean, build your own community for sure, or audience, right? Audience building is crucial to brand building. I mean, if you just have like 5 people in your audience, you're always talking to the same 5 people, only 5 people know you. But if you're going to other people's communities, then maybe 10 more people will know you. And then if you know how to create the gap that I said on day 1, which was yesterday, between someone just getting to know you to all the way to becoming a follower that follows you or your brand, that's, you got to take the right systems in place, or set the right systems in place to get to that level, which systems, by the way, is coming up, I think on Friday. So I will start connecting all these things for you guys. But, As far as branding is concerned, it's powerful, and thought leadership can come in many different ways, but you gotta just meet yourself where you are, right? You don't have to do it all, and these things take time. I've had my show on my podcast for 4 years by now, and I could just see the evolvement of just that one thing that I'm putting out there consistently. You're always going to be evolving. Just remember that you as a human going to evolve, your business is going to evolve, your messaging is going to evolve, but just don't do it into 360-degree shifts. Just tweak it slowly, always slowly, just like the process of improvement. I'm a big process geek, as I said on the other day, and a systems girl. So for me, it's like always like, how do I improve 1 millimeter? I changed one word in my business and my business boomed. One word in my branding and my messaging. So sometimes we're looking for these radical changes, but one tweak in your messaging can bring you a whole new audience of qualified, people that you could serve. So I realized how important. I wish I would have took or paid more attention to my English classes when I was in high school or even, beyond, because communication is powerful. Everything is communication. Everything is your message, right? I mean, you either resonate with what I'm saying or you don't. So messaging is powerful, and everything we're doing with and when you have a service, even product, I have a lot of product businesses that I have as corporate clients, and it's the same thing. People don't buy the product. People buy the brand story, the results, the transformation. So it's really the same thing. Your message is really powerful. So, every day I tweak that. I'm like, was I clear? How can I make it more clear? Did I, hit the nail, like the pain points, right? Did I speak about the transformation? Did I speak about the results? Because at the end of the day, the other thing about content is, because people are realizing its power, there's a lot of content being produced right now, and there's a lot of content creators. So right now you have to adapt to how you create content. You have to grab people's attention. Your content has to be to the point. There's no more like, okay, long form content, like 10-hour videos. Who's got time for that? People want TikToks. Like, give me 5 tips that I could use and apply right away, right? So that's it. That's kind of how we are evolving, but you got to be intuitive and kind of check out the marketplace and where we're heading, right? I mean, that's the other part of being a visionary business owner. You also got to keep tabs on your market, on your industry, on the buyer's habits, your behaviors, right? The psychology of your potential clients is really important. You got to get in the head of your potential people, because you have to know how they think, so that you're able with your messaging to kind of showcase that and to speak about that, right? So yeah, a lot, a few different things like that. But anyway, and the other one is standing out, and I talked about that. I mean, standing out, if you don't stand out in your brand message, if you are everywhere, as many places as you can be, obviously in a strategic, purposeful way, if you're standing out, and people, I mean, have you noticed that when you just kind of look at, maybe follow somebody and you kind of love their videos for some reason, and you've been getting a lot of value out of their videos, and when they stop putting content out there, you start to miss them. It's like human relationship. It's like, what happened to her? I'm not, when you start looking for people, because this is how we build genuine relationships. So you have to stay consistent, right? You have to stay consistent with everything you do, because people will start to seek you out, right? Because you've been serving them for a while, and that's how you're doing a great job with your branding, because you are consistent. And the other thing about trust is that I can trust her. She shows up all the time. And I bet you that's how she shows up in her business. And I bet you she's going to be very reliable service provider when I work with her, because of the way that she is, right? Everything is the way you show up, right? Your energy, the way you show up is people. My mom always says this to me, and sometimes I apply, a lot of times I apply to business. She's like, people can't see your heart, so they see your actions. Right? So when you show up, you're showing them through your work and your actions to trust you, Because trust is not one of those words that you're just like, well, you can trust me, I will deliver for you, I could help you create the results that you're looking for. That's different, versus you're always showing up. So you got to show up. I think that's the biggest part of entrepreneurship. And I also developed the quote from the lottery. It's like, you never know. Corey's gonna laugh because she hears me say it all the time. It's like, you never know. When you show up, magic happens. I don't know when I show up half the time what I'm gonna say, first of all, but I know my brand messaging inside of me. It's part of me. It's like organic. My experience is organic. That's why I say speak from the heart and lead with your heart, because if you just get in touch with that, you always will know. You will have some fear and all of that. That's normal. You're like, what am I going to say? New experiences, new people all the time. But you get so resilient by doing it all the time that you're like, okay, I'm ready anywhere. Like, I'd love to talk to anybody. Right. So you just become that confident with the things you're doing. I just remember when I started interviewing my PR efforts at the beginning, I would be like, oh my gosh, when I speak, I would prepare for the interview like 2 hours before. And now it's like, where am I going? Who's the audience? Okay, let's go. Let's speak about it. So my point to that is that these are all skills that you build. There is no magic. Just with consistency, doing it, repeating it. You build muscle memory, and you just look at yourself back a year from now and you'd be like, whoa, that was something that I feared. And now it's like, okay, what's the next thing? I'm done with that. But it's a great system to implement in your business, right? And I say that's a system to implement in your business, going to other people's communities and always serving and giving value. Because remember yesterday, human capital, you're always meeting other people. You just don't know who is their community. So you constantly have to go outside of your cocoon, so to speak, right? So we always hear about income generating activities. These are some income generating activities that you do in your business. But in order for you to get momentum, you got to keep at it. You can't just show up once. You can't just do it once and forget about it. Which is why I became such a really great student with processes, because processes are freedom. I can create a process and a foundation for the business, and then eventually I can delegate it out, right? I'm always going to be the face of my brand because I'm a service provider, and I know that. So you do what you have to do, and then you build systems and you hire people for the rest of the things that you need to do in the business. And we'll be speaking about that in the other days, as far as how to create systems and how to build your team and the leadership part, which is so important. In order to grow, you need to learn leadership. Otherwise, you're going to stay small. You're going to do it all yourself. You're going to be a solopreneur forever. If that is your choosing, maybe this is not the right workshop for you, because then you'll be doing it all. And that's just a self-employed person on my book, the way I see it. But, everyone chooses their thing. But what I've really learned is that people don't really have this knowledge and awareness, and they think that that's their option, right? So if you really learn and grow and develop, most people do want to make more impact. So how can you make more impact? You got to create systems and, be a leader and get the right people towards you to believe in your vision and mission, right? So the other one is, why are you different, right? So you need to position yourself in the marketplace with what do you bring? What is the gap you fill, right? So unique value proposition. I know we probably heard this in different ways. And again, it's back to what I said at the beginning. Sometimes it's a small tweak to what you offer that's different, but you have to be able to articulate it. You have to be able to articulate it. It's not enough to just, know what it is. Because in conversations, it comes up all the time, right? I have to do the same thing with business coaching, with other business coaches, with other business strategies, with other business models, right? And I always say, why am I different? Because I have connected the dots for people, and you are in one place and you're getting all these services that before, I guess, my framework was developed over a couple of years ago, people were hiring a branding coach, a marketing coach, a sales coach, a leadership coach, a mindset coach, They said, why are you going to 5 different service providers? I've already developed the framework and put in the foundational pillars, and then I'm able to help people with that. And the great part is that I had the awareness of corporations as well. So me thinking back, I'm like, where's the gap? Where's the gap? Okay, here's what I can provide that's going to offer people more value. And I know it's going to make them a return on their investment. So you always got to look at whatever area you're in. Trust me, there's always a gap. Like, look at other health coaching happening in the market. Look at other, in the real estate industry. Look at your digital marketing industry. Like, what are the things that you can create, the problem that you can solve in a different way by creating better results for people and always focusing on value, not on price. Let's remember that, right? I mean, I say you should never build a brand on being the cheapest in town. I mean, if that is your marketing strategy, fine, but I say that lead with value, lead with transformation. And of course, you can make a bigger impact, because we all know in the coaching industry, if people don't pay, they don't pay attention. And sometimes it's the perception of value, right? I mean, this could be worth thousands. I charge thousands for this workshop in my corporate setting, right? But because it might be free, that could be a brand perception that I don't have time for that. You just kind of throw it on the side. You don't make the commitment, right? That's kind of how it works. We're all human beings. So you got to position yourself strongly and charge really well for your transformation, not the process. Nobody cares. I can give you the same result in 3 months. You pay for what the result is I'm able to give you. And that's what I always look at. How do I give a better result, right? Because people don't care. It could take you 3 months to 6 months, right, to do the same thing. If I could save you time, make you more money, I'm going to do it. That's always what I'm looking for, right? Because that's what people want when they come to grow their businesses. They want to make more income and they want to save time. I always say the equation flips. At the beginning, you want more money and you have a lot of time. So you're looking for clients, money, growth, income, right? Bottom line. And then when you get it bigger, you're looking for more time, because now you have the foundation, the clients, the reputation, you know what you're doing. So now you're looking to grow with a different strategy, different level, different devil. So you're looking for more time. So that's where you're gonna, hire someone to help you with systems, leadership, cleaning up the company, structuring it, aligning it to, where you want to go next, right? So different problems, different stages, just like human life. But you do have to really, be intentional about the problem you solve, and really position yourself as authority. That's the best way to position your business as well. So something else that I want to share with you guys is as far as leadership. So when it comes to branding, you want to talk about the story, the journey of transformation with people, right? And you want to always be into just causes, right? The thing that you talk about, it's the mission. It's what's going to happen through the result and the transformation that you give people. How is that going to impact their lives? So a visionary takes people beyond the tactics of, here's my program, here's my course, here's my, membership, right? Business models are all different, whatever rolls your boat, right? We all never get stuck to business models. I said that on day one. But, you do want to, as a visionary, you want to pull people into a story that makes an impact, a story that transforms their lives, that makes a transformation, right? So you're always future casting, you're vision casting a bigger impact for people. And that's what's also going to pull the right team towards you, not only the right clients, right? I always say back to messaging, you always want to speak to that ideal client that you're trying to attract, because within that message, you're going to speak to them. And you're also going to filter people that don't resonate with you and might not even have the intention. They might not be in the right mindset to invest with you. So your messaging, the way you futurecast for your brand and your business, filters out all the rest of the people that are never going to be a good fit to work with you as well. And the other part about branding is that you are in authority. You get to pick the people you work with. That's the other beautiful part. And sometimes when we haven't done all of this, we kind of, go into scarcity mindset. We're like, well, I just need any client. And then you take a lot of pain in the butt clients. Every time I am, in my business with my messaging, if I start attracting people that don't align with me, I'm like, okay, there's something going on in my messaging, because always you are the mirror of the business, right? You are the one that's attracting the people you want or not. So whether it's your mindset, if outside the business you have a mindset of even not even believing in the price point you attach to your services, that's a big one for a lot of entrepreneurs, right? When you think your price is too expensive, you're like, I would not invest in this if I were someone else. That's like a no-no. That energy, even if you don't speak it and you just think it subconsciously, is going to attract people that are going to give you a lot of price objections. It's like, I don't have the time. This might be too expensive. I don't know if I can afford it. Fear-driven mindset. Your fears manifest in your business. Who would have thought? Like, if I would have figured out like my business is going to be all about my spiritual transformation, I would have laughed at you a couple of years ago. It'd be like, because I was very corporate-y, right? But this is all amazing stuff that you get to learn in the journey, that your mindset, it mirrors other people. If you think, like, even your terminology, and I'll speak a little bit about money mindset here, because money mindset holds a lot of people back. And I've had to do a lot of my inner work with that. When you find yourself saying this is too expensive, this is too much money, right? Kind of check back with that and speak about, okay, how is this an investment I am making in the thing that I want to get done? And that's really a priority for me. I've trained my kids the same way, because I was trained a different mindset. My mindset is like, oh, this is too expensive. My parents were immigrants. Money was always in lack, survival mode. I had to, work at 15 to help them. So everything, I always saw lack of money. So everything was like, oh my God, it's too expensive, too expensive. If you think that way, all your clients you're going to attract, I promise you're going to be in that mindset. And it's not about those transformation you can provide. If their mindset is off, you can't help them. Mindset is big, right? Mindset is big, because you can't convince someone that already doesn't value, what you have to offer, right? If they have all those, you don't want to coach in your discovery calls. Obviously, you get to help them when they become your client, and you could see, their blocks and all that. But until you, close them as a client, you just don't see all of that. So you do have to stay very aware of the way that you speak about things, because the way you think is exactly the people you are attracting. And that's my other thing. If I attract clients that work with me that maybe are not a good fit overall, I'm always looking at that as well. I'm like, am I attracting the right type of client towards the business or not? If I'm not, I'm always looking at what is it that I could be improving that could align me better with my potential ideal client that I could help, right? So check that a lot, like be very aware, on with your environment, with your energy of who you're actually attracting, because brand building is all about energy, right? Leadership, I say leadership, and building a brand is all about iconic energy. We're all human beings, we feed off one another, we get attracted to our energy, right? So if you have to master the inner world of that, right? Because otherwise that will just show up in your brand as well. And a lot of these things are there, and if we don't question them, we just get to get those clients on the other side, and then we complain, right? I would tell myself, like, why am I always attracting clients that don't see the value of my services? And they're like, well, I think this is too expensive, or I'm going to do it after. And I'm not saying a good dose of objection is not going to happen, because we're all humans, right? You're going to get the objections, and I'll talk about this in the sales part, but everything sort of connects anyway, right? So you're going to get healthy objections. We're all human beings. We might have the objection of time, procrastination, but that's just more reason to kind of dissect and kind of ask the person where they're coming from, so that you can be the guide. as your brand, you never want to be authority in the way that you are the hero. Because if people see that you are the hero and I can never reach that, forget it. You lost people on the way. I always say the hardest part of my job is selling people to themselves, not to my brand or my stuff. I already know what I could do. I already have very strong confidence, great results, all of that. It's people believing that they can have all of that in their lives, because the first automatic thought that happens is always like, well, good for you. I don't know if I can do it because of all of the stuff that comes up, you know? So it's really selling people in their potential, believing in themselves. And that's the biggest thing your brand needs to do. You have to be the guide. You have to empathize, share stories where you've been where they are, right? I mean, just empathize. I've been where you are. I understand, you know, but I have a solution. Here's what I have to offer and I can help you. Here's other people I've helped, you know, that were just like you at the beginning. This is exactly what they had a problem with. And here's where they are now. So be the guide, don't be the hero. Don't be an ego-driven leader of like, you know, look at me, look at what I'm doing, because you automatically are detaching your audience from you emotionally. Don't do that. So always your brand has to be empathizing. You have to be, you know, listening. Listening is another very important skill in business, because hello, we're dealing with humans. So we all want to be seen and heard, right? Our clients want to be seen and heard. Our team wants to be seen and heard. So you always have to be on, you know, have your listening ears on, because the more you listen, I always say, the more you know what is the next thing that you can introduce to help people further along. And always listen with your clients, like see where their blocks are, because the more you know where their blocks are, the more you can start to create solutions to help them overcome that. So there you go. You just became more valuable, because now they will really ensure that they will get the transformation and the result that they came to you for. So listening is another really important skill. Just like visibility, just like sharing things from your heart with your brand. But if you don't, then you're just like a little goldfish in the ocean. So, all right, guys, let me know any takeaways. I feel like I spoke, you know, too much, but sometimes my passion carries me through and I'm like, so let me know, what are some takeaways, or even from a scale of 1 to 4, where do you think you are with your branding based on what I shared with you so far? So feel free to share that in the chat. All right, 0.5 to 10 or 5 to 10? Mari Glenn, 5 to 10 probably?
No, 0.5.
0.5, okay, all right.
So there is still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, and that's the other part too, that sometimes we're always in a rush. If we are just starting out, or you're 1 or 2 or 3, you're still building your brand. I say a good brand is a good brand building time-wise is a good decade. All those big companies you've seen, or those, you know, brands you love to buy from, they've been in business 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, right? So brand building takes time. So just be patient with yourself, because sometimes it's like, I would have the same fear thoughts and be like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna compete with the big leaders in my industry? Because, you know, I'm always thinking that way. How can I offer solutions that are, you know, that provide more value from, you know, other people in my industry? I want to be the leader in my industry. So for me, that's always been the thing. But sometimes when you are such an overachiever, you get into, you know, the work hard, hustle mindset, which I actually don't believe of, you know, at all. At the beginning, I bought a lot of that. I don't think there should be such a hustle mindset. You should really be focused, intentional, understand what you're working towards is put your head down and work and be consistent. And that will really come to fruition for you. There's no hustle. What's the point? Because you can get burned out. What's the point of you hustling your way to entrepreneurship? You're going to be in this, especially if you're going to have a legacy business, you're going to be in this many years. So why wear yourself down? So pace yourself slowly, but definitely give yourself the education skills that you need to really understand that branding is what every big company has done, which is why we know about them, right? Otherwise, just study. Like, that's always my mission. Like, how do people get there? Like, how do they do that, right? Study the steps, because Tony Robbins says success leaves clues, right? So if it's been done before, there is systems that you can just take out and you can replicate and reuse them. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. And I think, being honest with ourselves as entrepreneurs, I know you're going to go a long way, because that's the right mindset, right? Being honest with yourself, where you are and where are the gaps. Because if you are completely avoiding the gaps and kind of just avoiding and be like, I'll worry about that after, or I'm great with everything I do, all this kind of mindset, you will be blind to your growth, right? I mean, your business only rises up to your own level of awareness anyway, right? Because you are the head of it. So I think being vulnerable is really crucial, and that's going to take everyone a long way. There's always room for improvement. There's always something to learn, for sure. All right, Eric, you can just open up your mic and share. I see you raise your hand there.
Sure. I think you asked what was my top takeaway. The thing that I think around branding that summarized a lot of what you discussed was what do people talk about when you're not in the room? And so all the things around, I guess, being intentional about brand messaging is so that you're able to craft what that message is when you're not there. So that's my biggest takeaway. One thing that you mentioned too that I'm curious about, maybe you talked about it yesterday when I left, was around these chairs and the pillars. So I get the concept, but I wasn't sure if I missed, what are these different legs? And if you could repeat that, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I love your takeaway. So the way the definition of branding is about the people knowing about you and the awareness you have. So when it comes to the front 4 brand pillars, and, I would say have just 4 main topics. I look at them as topics, like topics that you always teach on, that are part of your offer or your expertise, what you offer in the marketplace. So what is it that you do, Eric? Because I love your combination that you did for me on LinkedIn. Tell me a little bit more regarding what you do. I'll give you some real life insight based on.
Sure. I guess the way I describe myself, I'm a technologist, mentor, coach. I help people envision all the possible with software, and I support students in transition.
All right. So you want to teach on those topics, right? On the topics that you have such an expertise on, right? Technology, for your target market, what are those relatable things that they need? What is the problem you solve? So the 4 legs or the brand pillars are really the results that you're able to create through your work, pretty much. So whatever that is. So one pillar would be technology. Another one would be something that's relatable to your target market that you always speak about. So you want to just get clarity on your main topics. It's really what it is. 4 main topics that you always talk about, that you always stay consistent with, so that you could start paving your own path into positioning yourself in the marketplace.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much for sharing. Okay, great job. So Corey says everything we spoke about was great. Yeah, and I know, Corey, you've done a great job with putting yourself out there, building your brand, starting your own show, having other people, come on your show and accessing other people's communities. These are all great ways to share the love, is what I say, like service one another, collaborate, right? Strategic partnership is another great strategy for brand building. I mean, if we serve like audiences, I take a different angle. And if I'm able to actually help you get a better result, here we go. I'm a really great strategic partner for you. We can serve that client at a higher level, right? So we all hear about, I can never say this word, but when we serve the same client, we offer a different solution. But I would say the best strategic partnerships is that when I offer a solution that's going to help your client get better results, then I'll position myself even better for that strategic partnership. So partnerships are powerful in business. Everything, as I always say, is about people, partnerships, collaboration, and leadership. Anything big you want to do, it's always going to take, those four things to come into fruition. We cannot do anything on our own. I always say we're always co-creating, we're always a byproduct, and leveraging the power of other people to even like your communities. I say if you have serviced your people, that's the best word of mouth, right? If they already connect with you emotionally, they know, like, and trust you, they already know what you do, you're like, that's the best way to leverage the people that are there that already know you to introduce you to more people, right? Because we all have heard, I always compare it this way, even with my team, Julia's here. And I always tell her too, it's like, would you rather get a message from someone you never heard about? Are you going to ignore that? Because I do. I'm busy. I have a lot going on. But if I know Mari Glenn and he's like, Elona, you should take a look at this, I'm going to pay very much attention to that message because I already trust him. And I already built a relationship with him some way, and I already know what he's about. So I'm like, let me pay attention. Let me see what he has to offer. Let me see if this is a good fit for what I'm doing. So I will pay closer attention to that than a cold message, from someone that doesn't know the nurture relationship phases and systems of, how to do it. That kind of just sends me a cold DM. Even if the workshop or the mastermind, I get invited to a lot of speaking events. But if I don't resonate, it's someone that just it's not a fit for what I'm trying to do, I will just bypass it. But I will not bypass, even if that opportunity is not so much in great alignment here, my brain is going to be thinking, who do I know to help him with that, right? Because it's always give and take in life, right? And you always go into serve first. My mind is always like, what can I do for them? What can I do? I'm always like drilled into this. Servant leadership is my favorite, right? I mean, I was very lucky to be introduced to a lot of these concepts early on. So serving other people. I always say that, we think when we work somewhere, we have a boss. But I think when we're entrepreneurs, your clients are your boss and your team is your boss because you should be in service to them, right? And your job is always about how to better improve the things that they're looking for. So you're just in service to many more people, right? So, and sometimes we get into this, like, I want to be my own boss and all the freedom I'm getting and all of that, make my own schedule. But I would train my corporate, when I was in corporate, I would tell them the same thing. Client is king. We're there for them. We're not here for the company. The company gets paid by the clients. Your paycheck does not come from the company. Your paycheck comes from the clients or the customers, because I was in the retail industry. So always focusing people, where should you be directing your focus? Because sometimes, we lose focus and we're like, why are we doing what we're doing? Who are we serving with what we're doing? So it's always the person that you're serving is the boss, right? In whatever you choose. And if you make your mission in life to service them at a higher level and always be improving yourself, the sky's the limit. You're going to be a leader in whatever you want. Trust me, because you have that already. You're going to figure it out. You're going to put your brain to work to see what is the next thing and then the next thing. And then I will leave you with this last final thought. Everything in entrepreneurship is testing. I wish I would have learned this many years ago, because my certainty and security mindset that I had to reprogram was like, oh my gosh, I have to know exactly, control freak. I had to know exactly what I need to do, because perfectionism, if I don't do it perfect, I must not know what I'm doing, or, I would not trust myself. But I realized that just let it go. You just you're going to try a lot of things. There's no such thing as failure, only lessons. But I think the biggest ability of entrepreneurship, and I was listening because I listened to, I don't know if you guys watch on YouTube, The Diary of a CEO. The host there brings a lot of different CEOs on, and I was hearing Barbara, of course, I forgot her last name, but she's big in real estate. She's a Shark Tank. And that's kind of what she shared as well yesterday in the interview. And I'm like, wow, how timely. The two biggest, I guess, qualities that really differentiate entrepreneurs, that build a legacy business, and others that, I guess, quit along the way, because what else is there, right? You quit, you change direction, is the ambition and to be a people person. So if you love people and you got drive and ambition, then no matter how many times you fall, you keep getting back up and you keep just doing it and you forget about yesterday's thing. You have to almost develop all these habits to stay resilient in the journey. And she said, those are the two things that she has seen. And she always hires hungry people, not rich people. She always hires hungry people that don't have the things that they want to create in their lives, because they're going to work harder, right? If you already have it, it's like your ambition is not there. But anyway, those are just some life lessons from her thing. But I love to listen to other people's experiences and kind of draw out lessons, which are always applicable really in anything in life and business. So I hope that was valuable for you as well. Well, it was a pleasure. I have a reflection question, or AKA homework, for next session. So what will you start doing differently in your brand positioning? So based on what I shared with you so far, maybe just give yourself 1, 2, or 3 things that you want to start in 2023 that you feel are really gonna build your brand up in the marketplace and increase your visibility so you can serve people at a higher level. Building your brand is not about all the robotics. It's about how much more impact can I make with people. When you always have service in mind, you're going to be fine. I always say, when you always serve, you come out of your own drama. You're always like, okay, I'm here for what I'm doing for others, and everything else just gets easier. So that's why I love vision, because vision is about impact. And that's why I shared about making impact goals, because results and money and all of that are very shiny objects that kind of just I forget about tomorrow. Every time I reached a goal, it made me happy for a day. And then I'm like, okay, next. But every time I helped a person and I left an impact in their lives, that high, it's with me for life. I remember them. I remember the impact I made. So, and vice versa. So I just made it a rule of life. And I said, it's always about the impact. And when you have such a big vision for the future, you know, you kind of, every time you just want to serve someone else, you will do fine, because you will always think of ways that you can help someone else and contribute. And as human beings, we just want to always contribute anyway. Grow and contribution are the 2 needs of the soul, right? If we're always growing and contributing, we're always going to be fulfilled. And in this level, phase, and stage of my life, that's why I started my business. I said, no more 9 to 5, no more working for someone else. Doesn't matter how long it's going to take me. I will build something that is going to fulfill me for these couple of years. Been there, done that. I've had all the goals. I've had all the ambitions. I've had all the things, made me happy for a day. And then I'm like, but this thing is a high that lasts for life. So for those of you that kind of like the adrenaline out of entrepreneurship, I love that too. You know, I love just kind of challenging myself all the time. So it's all fun stuff, right? Make it fun. That's my final word. If you're not having fun, you're doing the wrong thing. If it's not fun, just get out of this business, do something else. Because in order to continue, you have to love what you do.
Do you mind repeating the question again, the challenge question?
Yeah, absolutely. What will you start doing differently in your brand positioning based on today's workshop?
Thank you.
Thank you guys all for coming by again. Very nice to have seen you, and I'll see you here tomorrow for marketing. It's a really cool topic too. I love all these topics, right? They're all great because they all connect into making the impact that you're looking to make. So I'll see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern again. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Elona.